I don't see myself. Do you see me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I don't.
Прывітанне, дарагія сябры. Рады вас бачыць. У эфіры «Зя лайф», серыя онлайн-сустрэч ад кінафестывалю «Паўночнае зянне», якія мы робім для таго, каб заставацца на сувязі з вамі, нашы дарагія гледачы, для таго, каб падтрымаць сябе і сваіх калег у складаны час глобальнай пандэміі. І сёння ў нас такі будзе чэлендж для беларускай аўдыторыі, ну і для мяне таксама у нейкім сэнсе. Мы будзем размаўляць па-ангельску з нашай госцяй. Гэтае пытанне на самай справе часта даволі востра стаіць адносна мовы. Калі мы робім свае эфіры, свае івенты на паўночным зяні з замежнымі гасцямі па-ангельску, то вельмі часта паўстае пытанне перакладаць ці не перакладаць на беларускую ці на рускую мову. Ці згубім мы частку аўдыторыі, калі не будзем перакладаць з ангельскай мовы. Но для міжнародных кінафестываляў гэта нармальная практыка, калі все івенты хосцяцца па-ангельску, гэта як бы мова агульная камунікацыі паміж усімі. Беларусь, на жаль, гэта не так яшчэ распаўсюджана, не настолькі людзі свабодна ўжываюць беларускую мову і свабодна ёй карыстаюцца, таму гэта для нас заўжды пытанне вялікае, што рабіць. І сёння мы эксперыментуем. Я вельмі спадзяюся, што вы нас паслухаеце, даслухаеце, і вам будзе цікава размаўляць з нашай госцяй. Наша госця сёння знаходзіцца ў Вільні. Завуць яе Dovilė Butnoriūtė. І яна з'яўляецца старшынёй аддзелу прасоўвання прамоцыі літоўскага кінацэнтра. Hi, Dovilė.
Hi.
Thank you for sharing your precious time with us.
That was a very exceptional invitation. I couldn't say no. Thank you very much for having me, and hi to everybody who's taking this challenge in English.
Yeah. Where are you located? You have so nice posters on your background.
It's a Sunday and I'm in the office that is deadly empty, as it should be right now. But it's the only place that's so calm and has a proper Wi-Fi connection, and that has environment that inspires us all. Films around me, Lithuanian titles. It's like How We Played the Revolution poster behind me. So it feels quite relative right now.
Yeah, that's great. But I'm curious about, you said that the office is empty. I'm curious about how is this quarantine actually is taking place in Lithuania, and how did it affect the work of Lithuanian Film Center?
Well, we started the lockdown from 17th of March. And from that day, we told each other that we're not going to the office until it's necessary. So in my case, I have to come from time to time to keep some businesses going. So what we are doing, for example, in Lithuanian Film Center, we are keeping our freelancers busy, our teams busy from homes, because some people do have children. Some people are pregnant, they have families, so many challenges to take, because like school children at home studying, it's another part of work they have to do. So the only people who comes, like accountant, the secretary, the director, those who has some stuff, the serious stuff to do, to sign some papers, to keep it all going from time to time. So I come like 1-2 times a week maximum, just to do this very necessary stuff from the office that physically needs to be done.
In a mask?
We are like 2 people in the office, in the huge one. So I'm sitting here alone, all alone, but I have my mask, of course, and it's like very serious to have it. And in Lithuania, you have fines like up to 200 euros per mask, and it's quite tricky. So people are literally with the masks all the time, and if you forgot to take it, you definitely like feel like naked right now because everybody has it. And I hope in Belarus, you guys are also taking the masks and taking this serious.
Yeah, that's actually, it is what you have said is related to my question, because you are invited to Northern Lights. You are supposed to be our guest. Hopefully it's going to happen maybe in autumn. I don't know, it's really hard to predict. But what kind of like vision of Belarus do you have, you personally, and you in Lithuania, if I may ask that? And also, what kind of rumors and information squeeze into your country about the current situation in Belarus?
Well, our presidents were speaking to each other after 10 years. That was quite a surprise for everybody because our president is quite absent nowadays. We don't see like it's a Queen of England, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, and Angela Merkel, everybody's appearing, but in Lithuania, our president is quite silent too, that's if I can say that. So we were surprised that we have this, but with Belarus, we have this lovely channel that we can always see people in Vilnius from Minsk. I was in Minsk several times for films for Listopad, and I was planning to come to Northern Lights this year. So we keep our interest on filling you with the good content from Lithuania, to consult, to stay friendly. I have a lot of friends from Minsk, and I was really looking forward to go there. We are quite afraid, that if things officially are not that oppressed, like how to fight the quarantine, because in Lithuania it's quite mild situation right now, not that many cases. Everybody's trying right now, good weather, starting to a little bit together, and we're slightly opening. From time to time, the shops are open now, but not the bars and the terraces from the next week. So we are a bit afraid for the second wave now, not of the current situation, but about the future. But in Belarus, I guess it's quite a different situation right now. So stay home, stay healthy, and we're with you guys. And as our president told, we are ready to support you by some medical equipment and everything, because we do have it and we don't need it that much now.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I think support and solidarity is very important.
Well, for the film business, it's really crucial for all the cultural sectors, super hard now. So the biggest task we do right now is creating some support schemes for our productions, for our festivals, for our events, and also cinemas that are currently working on right now, because we will need to open it and we have to save this business. Even though the sector is quite small in Lithuania, of course, the money we have, the budgets we have are not crazy big, but still we need to keep it going and to keep it alive. And small countries has their own issues, and the bigger countries has another ones. And I believe it's not easy in Belarus. And guys, stay home, and we will somehow make it.
Yeah, I hope we will make it. But in Belarus, of course, it's challenging. I mean, it's also like a big question of how did the virus and the pandemic and the quarantine situation affected the film business. We're going to talk tomorrow also with one of my colleagues, Belarusian producer, also about that. And it's a big question also about how did it affect the film industry in Belarus, which actually does not really exist. Because we have this, we don't have film institute, we don't have any proper structure, any proper funding structure. So basically we are like invisible, and we are fighting on our own. And we hope that maybe this situation will actually help the film industry maybe to emerge, actually.
Well, you shouldn't be alone. You shouldn't feel alone in this case, because all the creative sector is paralyzed in Lithuania to, from the event starting to the theater, to the festivals, to any plans we had, because I think events will be open in the very last circle. Doesn't matter that we are opening right now slowly, like we can have a beer, two of us, in the open air terrace, but the events and the gatherings of massive gatherings, like up to 100 people, will be open we would like to predict in the end of summer.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And all the predictions are not so optimistic as we want to see it.
And talking about productions, from the very beginning, it's students. Like student works, graduate students, they cannot film their short films.
Yeah, I'm in that situation now. Yeah,
we can talk later about that.
Yeah, we can talk later. So getting back to the film business and to Lithuanian Film Center, like as head of promotion, tell me what you do, like generally and usually when it's not like a pandemic urgent situation. Like what are your duties?
Well, usually I'm in charge of most of the things that are outside of production stuff, because we have a department of production and then we have a department of promotion. So we are in charge of support scheme for festivals, all the cinema culture events that everybody can apply for the contest, and we do support it, all the events in Lithuania, including film screenings or film culture retrospectives, festivals, and etc. So it's also under this department. We also do digitization and restoration of classical films. So this is another part, and I do the promotion for it because we are the rights holders. So if anybody would like to screen any piece, part, or the full film from the classics, they have to be here. I'm also in charge of festivals, international projects, film promotion, all the publications we do, everything that goes from the Lithuanian Film Center or the film industry in general. So we have a PR specialist under my department. We also do educational programs for scholars, kids, pupils, and also in the future, I hope to keep the educators more and more professional. So it means like international projects with them to get the market stronger. Right now, we are actually very busy with education for kids at home, and we're using some tools we developed years before and implementing it right now. Plus, we do the indexing for future films that will go to the cinemas. So we do the statistics, and we also give those evaluations like from 16-year-olds for adults, for those who are under 13, and for those animations. So every film that has to go to the cinemas, in our department, we have expert group that's also coordinated, and they do prepare a special evaluation system, and we literally index up to 500 films a year here in this department. So I'm in charge of all of those, plus extra initiatives that always comes. So yeah, like film awards, film dedicated to Oscars, and all of those projects comes here, and I have to think about this.
Yeah, there's a huge amount of work.
Yeah, it is, and everything stopped except education mostly right now. And what we are doing now is like getting ready for future VOD systems. Also, we had this Vilnius Film Festival happened. It was like really well done project. They turned to VOD. As I believe the biggest part of the program was turned to VOD and online, using all the tools that were never used in Lithuanian, all the platforms that were never used, and people were not used to watch it on a small screen. So they also did, and we were discussing how to keep the support, how to, to change the lines in the budgets we supported, how to protect and save the support we gave. And right now, a lot of stuff we have to do is like for those future festivals, and also initiatives that had to happen now or will have to happen in summer. So we have to adapt everything, to rediscuss everything with every organizer.
Yeah, that's a great challenge actually. But
interesting.
Yeah, it's a great challenge. But also, this is my question about like how did your work actually change considering the current situation, because like festivals are not happening or happening online, and this brings a lot of new kind of challenges and like issues to solve. And how did it affect your work as a head of promotion? And
well, we had, as you know, the only films that got to international market are the films released in Berlinale, the lucky ones, but at the same time, they're the trapped ones.
This year,
because there's no market for them to travel, even though they are there, really are there, and they had the premiere. And in Lithuania, we had 13 titles to start this year. Some of those were in the very last phase of post-production. So it means if it was supposed to be done in foreign country, it stopped for some productions. For the others, some editing can be done still, but some are finished and they don't know where to go. And you really have to think wisely if you would like to go on VOD or would like to go to any festival that will release your film, because there should be a traffic jam. Like we have more than 100 films, I believe. Like if there were supposed 100 films, so plus the ones who stuck, it's like 200 films at least. So the fight for the festivals will be deadly. So we have those films. I'm still checking, what is the current situation, what is the status. So in terms of planning anything right now, we don't know, because we do adapt on the films that should be ready for international markets. So we don't know yet. We were, of course, taking a break a bit from the future planning and postponing many projects that we had to do right now, like going to some like Cannes, actually. And we're still thinking on how to do it, because there should be a virtual market and nobody knows how the virtual market should work. And not being present there would be very interesting. But at the same time, what we did to keep ourselves busy and to try to clean all the corners we never did. So updating our catalogs, redoing the website, thinking of things that we never had time to do. And also with some educational programs, like to adapt it right now, right here, to possible learning at homes. And it worked very well for the 100 teachers. After giving them a survey, if you would like to try that, they said yes in 2 days. So they never replied so fast. It was really special in this case. And so we started with the classical films. Then we asked some filmmakers for all their films for kids and teenagers, and they said yes. And now we have a schedule until the karantін will be over, and officially it will be over at 11th of May, and then possibly slight opening will start. We'll see. So we have those corners that were never used. Education was not proactive, I have to admit that, and it was quite a weaker part of our projects, because we were concentrated mostly on the events that has to happen, or international level or domestic level. But right now we had to be proactive in this case, and it worked very well. I'm very happy and proud of my team that they did that. In the other part, we have to rethink of the production side. There was a governmental level of film policy that colleagues of mine, the director, took place and asked for support, and we are now thinking of those governmental mechanisms of how to slightly at least save or support the films in production side, pre-production side. This is the production side that I'm not directly working, but this is the support plan that we're working, the help plan, crisis plan, that we also, instead of the actions that we do, we are also getting ready for those. It should be fast, it should be efficient, it should please everybody, and it's actually not perfect, but we hope that people will be at least a bit satisfied.
Yeah, but how many productions were stopped or suspended in Lithuania because of the lockdown?
It's at the moment we are calculating that, calling every project, because we just gave a support before the lockdown. So there were some people who were preparing, some people were already taking actions or getting ready to shoot. The physical shooting in March is usually, this a slower month, so few only, and the student work stopped. And that was the first year we ever granted the graduate films. So it means to get their quality better, because a lot of talents are there. So after long discussions year after year, we gave this grant, and now it stopped. Nobody can use it. And for students to make a film, sometimes they don't know how it works. So depending on the new rules right now, how to shoot it, how to do the self-isolation and everything, well, when you don't know how to properly, professionally, efficiently do it, it's deadly. It's like an incubator, and we hope that they will find a solution somehow, or prolonged or whatever. So firstly, it's very important that the young talents were stuck. the others, it's like, it's hard to say now, but we are literally in contact with everybody, and that's good that Lithuania is not that big country, not that many productions stuff, but it's deadly painful for everybody, you know, going there in preparation phase. That needs a lot of investment. It's really, really hard for those who were in the middle, and there were few. It's also very difficult. We're happy that Stranger Things were shot just before, and they finished it.
Like
And
you
it was
guys.
done. And we closed it. We are quite, sad that the international productions that were planning a lot of work here stopped because the incentives and support for those foreign productions is at a question mark right now. It will need some time, so we still keep on discussing with everybody and keeping our relationships. I think what we learned from quarantine and this pandemic is that we just need to communicate with each other, ask how are we, keep this relationship, feel the pulse of everybody, and then find a solution how to do it. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, because people are important, I believe. And yeah, that's why we are doing our live streams at Northern Lights to keep the connection. Yeah. But I mean, like, from your perspective, as a person who works with promotion, because promoting films and getting them spotlighted is extremely difficult, actually. And for example, if you promote and spotlight a project that is selected for Berlinale or Cannes or like Sundance or another A-class big festival, for example, is one thing. But when you do this online, when everybody goes online, and then basically you are, even if you are geo-blocked and like limited with one country access, it's still that you are competing with the content all over the globe. It's much more competitive. So how do you see this, and how do you approach this challenge, or gonna approach in the future?
I think first of all, we're never alone in all of those actions, because it all starts with producers. How do they see the team and their ambitions? And mostly what we do is support their wish and look for possibilities how to highlight it a bit more. And right now, I think all the producers, first of all, has to rethink how to do it. And I'm quite happy that in the festivals that are happening on VOD, there are some Lithuanian films given. Because before, if you say like, okay, we have this offer maybe to spotlight some films from Lithuania, it's like, on VOD, are you kidding me? And right now they do rethink that and how to get it. And I really, really love the discussion. It's actually online and everybody can watch it. Vilnius Film Festival Kino Pavasaris was launching a very lovely discussion, and it's really recommended to hear. It was together with CPH Docs, who told how it was done and what is the possible fee and what was the result. What I like a lot about VOD festivals, that they still do it limited, like 500 seats, and that's it. Kino Pavasaris took another strategy without limitations, so or the days, only the days limit, because it still needs a programming and another kind of approach and another kind of support from technical side, and also questions to be answered. They did another one, like as many as possible, like everybody can watch it. I think that's very interesting for producers, and it's like also a very good way to attract the distant audiences, because we see that people not from the biggest cities or the capitals where the festivals or the cities or towns that the festival is held, but they can reach also smaller towns. And usually not only one person watches it. It can be 4, it can be 2, it can be a family. So it's very hard to count the number, but you can really reach someone who was never supposed to watch it. So we can take it also as a nice opportunity to try. Also, it's also another challenge for the platforms, if they can take the source, and some stood up very nicely. And I also personally remembered that they have some accesses to some libraries I never used, because it's like on Netflix, you just get lost in the catalog, right? It's like more time you spend like trying to figure out what you would like to see. And this time it feels like you have this nice time to dig, and if you find the gold, and you dig for the gold, and you can find a lot of stuff. And you never thought that you have time for 2 films in the evening, starting from 10 o'clock in the evening, for example, till midnight. We can watch 2 or 1.5, and like, okay, 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. It's quite a nice number.
Right. Yeah. I'm wondering about Kino-pavasaris, how active the audience is in Lithuania, like online. Can you compare the numbers of watched films in Kino-pavasaris and with if it happened offline? Like the numbers are relevant, equal, bigger, smaller?
Well, the thing is, and it's really, the team did a great job. We are very proud and very surprised on the time scale that they did. They didn't have much time to turn it, because till the very end they were hoping to make it physical. But when the lockdown happened, it was like 4 or 5 days till the festival.
They really had to act quickly.
All the cultural sector was supporting the festival, so all the social medias went like, let's go to see Kino-pavasaris films. So I think that helped a lot. Of course, there were some tricks online how to watch films for free, or how to to hack it a bit. I heard about this.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's hard to say what was the final number, but the expectations, and we everybody were discussing how big will be the audience, because before it was 130,000, if I'm not mistaken, spectators, physical ones. So right now they had in counting the heads, quite the same number, but the physical, viewing was lower. But the interesting thing, that was social campaign to support cultural sector, first of all, through Kino-pavasaris. So everybody were doing this. They were doing amazing social network work. I'm sure that was not easy, because imagine they were printing all the booklets, like thousands of booklets, like it's thrown away because nobody cares of it anymore. But it was really nice, all the actions they did, and all that experience they had in years for 20th festival, 25th festival. It's like it exploded in a very nice way, because they even managed to give the award ceremony and the opening ceremony that people attended, and I saw like 600 people watching it. So it's like more than we can expect.
But talking about the piracy, how dangerous is this? How big is this an issue in Lithuania? Because it's really an issue in CIS region, and basically everything that goes online in CIS region is like hacked immediately, and is like squeezed and put online on like pirate websites and whatever. So you really have to make an effort to protect your content. And I know that Doku Days UA, the film festival that is happening now online, also they rebuilt their strategy. And I'm really keeping my fingers crossed about them, and that everything goes well with the festival. But I know that they had big issues with authors and producers, international, who were very cautious about giving the rights to Doku Days for online streaming. Because this is like, even if you have like a protected scheme and like the strategy on how, and mechanisms on how to protect your content online, is like everything can be hacked kinda, and or maybe not, I don't know. Like I know that there is one certified way of protecting the content, but how big is this an issue in Lithuania?
Well, as I said, VOD was the very last stage before, so it's very normal to be concerned. But right now, since we have those platforms that are finding their ways and testing their ways, and right now more and more, like a month was like enough time for them to put some locks on the content. But in Lithuania is one of those countries where the piracy is very big. So what we do usually,
high five,
through legal educational programs, we offer the European content for kids in schools. It's the 3 years old project we do, and that's very nice. And Netflix and all those HBOs that are affordable right now for us, like 5-7 euros per month. So people started doing this, and less torrents are appearing. I hope so, because in my environment personal environment before everybody were like torrenting. And right now more and more, like we were discussing last night, that have you seen this TV series? It's on HBO and la. But the piracy is still big, but they hope that quarantine also puts some, some minds on everybody's thoughts, like how to do it, and such initiatives like Kino Pavasaris did, because the biggest film they had was Parasite. And before the festival, it was uploaded to some piracy streaming platforms with the audio subtitling from known person, like literally Lithuanian. That was with the voice from a very well-known person, and that was another social campaign they did. And I think it was really, really nice that they brought this question up. So the question is very big, but still the number they reached, I just don't want to lie the numbers because I didn't check before. But before our conversation were quite impressive that people still supported it, and the festival is still happening. And I personally have few codes still left until the quarantine is over, and I will find some specific program diamond. I'm looking for it right now in Lithuanian to support them too. So people are still watching films. They still have this ability, and that was not the smallest result they had. Of course, the loss was enormous because the festival is very, very big, and it was supposed to grow more, and we were wishing all. I wonder, and all the festivals in Lithuania actually that are supposed to happen in autumn, they are also finding the way of doing semi VOD plus. It never happened before.
What Go East is doing in Wiesbaden, I suppose.
Yeah.
Also doing semi version. Doc Mooney, he's doing like everything online, I guess. But are they in August, or when are they? Are they now?
And I was talking with some colleagues from Go East and other festivals, and they told that getting rights is getting easier. Before, when Kino Pavasaris was starting doing this, we were sitting at the table and discussing how we will keep it going together with the support, and they told that it's not that easy for the big films, like Jim Jarmusch films are not going on VOD. They are literally physical because of piracy, and films are just some films, whale films, the huge ones, they are not supposed to go there, but the smaller ones were literally doing this negotiation on how to do this. And I'm sure that more and more filmmakers are open right now to do that. Because also like Sinando and the other platforms, Festival Scope, we're offering enormous opportunities for them. And it works very well, and it's hard to hack. You cannot, rewind the film. You cannot watch it again.
Yeah, I was thinking the same, that in the beginning, like maybe even a month ago, it was like a huge concern that like, oh, no, we're not going to give our films for VOD platforms, for VOD premiere or whatever. But now when we see that we actually don't know when it's going to end, and if we're going to have any offline premieres by the end of this year, actually, then I think also producers, and I can speak also for myself, that we become more flexible, like more open for other options and opportunities. And I also wanted to ask if you already have a case of VOD Lithuanian premiere of any Lithuanian film.
Still not, because the biggest and the most important premieres usually are starting with Kino Pavasaris, and while the program was brought, there was a strict limitation that Lithuanian films will not be broadcasted there. We will wait for this cinema launch, theatrical launch.
Yeah.
We'll see when it will happen. I think it's going to be a traffic jam because, film awards are based on theatrical releases. So,
yes.
So we'll see how many films will be eligible this year. But we had the situation that film awards were not given last year. So we have 20 films at least that goes to this year. So plus that, it should be very interesting who were the best ones.
Right.
But I just forgot to tell you that was very interesting and very funny system that drive-in cinemas are opening in Lithuania. Like after one, we have 4 already in 1 week. Drive-in cinemas will be all over Lithuania.
They are launching. They are appearing.
Yes, and we have in Vilnius, we have 2. In Kaunas, second biggest city, we have 1. And I see that in the regions, our distributors are telling us that maybe we shall count, the spectators right now, because to do the statistics, because like 200 cars at least, it's like 2 passengers can sit there or the family. They can attend that, and it's like on the parking lots on the big shopping centers, or in the exposition halls, like the biggest, there.
So it's
that's another
trend, kinda. It's become a trend. Okay.
Yeah.
Of pandemic time.
It can be during rain, it's LED screens, so it can still work while raining. They do the radio FM, so you can listen to it through your phone or through your radio in your car, and you can hear that and just sit there in the car. And but the restriction is you cannot go to the bathroom. There's no bathroom, and you cannot leave the car. So it's like you have to be concerned about that and just sit there and watch film.
Be prepared. Yeah.
So that's another thing to do. Yeah.
I was wondering about these film reviews, because I've heard from film journalists that now they are really like also kind of start to struggle because they don't go to festivals, and film reviews are not so much on demand as before, kinda. So also in terms of promotion, like how did it affect your job? And what have you maybe about other film professionals that are involved in like other film sectors, like how did this situation affect them?
I think it's calmer now, but we had this Vilnius Film Festival, Kino Pavasaris, that put some in action. So they found some topics to discover, to discuss, or to write about. So that since it was very big and still happens, so some activities are still appearing, some talks online, so they can still do that. I don't think it's so stressful because it's not that much announced, but I'm thinking of some support system for film journals too. Right now, it's a work in progress, but possibly it's very important step to take a step for industry correspondence right now, because before everybody who wants to write about film industry, they write about films, and we were lacking of industry correspondence, so I guess they can step in.
You mean like analytics, more analytics? Mm-hmm.
Like production side, or like digging into the process of future films, but not taking the result as a film, to analyze. So I believe this is very interesting to compare the countries, or to check some project, follow it up, or take the opinions on the international or local releases and do this analytics in a very different scale. I think it can be a very interesting gap, and we will try to initiate or to support possible opinions on what's going on and how do we survive by the film talents. Something like this, I'm thinking of some initiative. It's not, not about the big money, but still keep those topics up. This is one of my questions on my table right now.
Yeah. We talk a lot about women in film at Northern Lights. And my question to you is about 50-50 by 2020 strategy, which is also like endangered because of the pandemic. I don't know if it is endangered, but maybe because the pandemic affects everything. As far as I'm aware, maybe Göteborg Film Festival is the only one who managed to fulfill this 50-50 by 2020, right? This equality while programming. What do you think about it? Is this a fair thing? While programming, and how this can affect the quality of cinema?
First of all, only Göteborg, it was the loudest, the festival was the loudest one to announce 2020 50-50 initiative. The others are mostly counting but not taking action. The smaller festivals can do that, but the bigger ones who are mostly, thinking of some curatorial ideas behind, and thinking of some topic to develop, it's very hard. Because in the end of the day, we're all thinking about the film as a result. And sometimes it feels that people forgot that producer can be a woman and director can be a man, or vice versa. And that's very interesting because a film usually is like two people's work. And how do we divide that? This project is doomed, of course, 50-50 by 2020. But I don't think that they stopped creativity from women coming. And I think it's year after year, the awareness of the question is the most important. And it was so actual.
To bring it to the discourse.
Yeah. And this is a really funny thing that everybody's just counting, but nobody is doing any action about it. Releasing the leaflet from the media side, for example, if we dig for it, like, yeah, we published some publication, very nice. What's behind that? We did the cocktail for women, altogether nice. We could do this every time. And what's the proactive thing? I think women can understand women each other better, and they do that, and they do collaborate, and more initiatives from small to the bigger ones, like looking for a partner, like editor or a camera woman, DOP, from female side first of all. Some topics like ask for it first in the first place, and then they start to dig someone who's like following the same idea. But I think more and more of this, and that's a very nice situation. And we're not in a bad position in Lithuania about this. It takes time, of course, to get professional, to get experience, to get involved into bigger and bigger productions. Like we have one editor, female, who did 4 films in the last year, like for 3 or 4. Some of them were already released, and some are still looking for premieres.
Yeah, very productive.
So see, if you're good at it, you will never be without the work. Of course, we would like them to be the more and more of them, in the industry, but it takes time. Personally, I was always, oppressed by this, like, who's this woman, young lady talking there? I was involved into music before, and like talking about the sound with the sound guy, like, can you take the bass down? And it takes time to prove yourself. Then they don't ask anymore, but at the beginning it was quite hard.
But do you think it's like the expectations and demands for women are higher?
I don't think so. It's just, people know people, and this is how it goes. To be in a cinema family also takes time, because if you need to develop bigger projects, you need to know someone. And it depends. If you ask the older generation, possibly they will know more male. And you will never ask extra just to understand the same idea. It's like how we do belong together. The new generation filmmakers that we are very happy to have right now in Lithuania, they are not about gender anymore. But the older generation who are, used to work on some strategies, or working with some people who were mostly male at some point, the author, the director, the others, they're still based on the same industry part that they were used. And right now we have new game players, new initiatives, and we need more and more people. And I'm very happy that we have foreign productions that train a lot of new people from technical sides, and just going to production. So you can find more and more girls going around there, because we need people, and it's not about the gender anymore.
Yeah, but I'm sometimes a little bit frustrated when people say that, like, yeah, I don't look at the gender, like I just make sure that the film is good. And I'm just thinking that, but why don't you look at the gender? Let's look at the gender also, like at least for some time. I think we should pay attention to that again, in order to bring this to the discourse, and to bring out this issue that, like, women were like underrepresented, and that they were having less opportunities, and and this was over the centuries. But now, I mean, we cannot just say that, okay, the last 10 years it's kind of been equality, which was not, of course. But now it's, let's just not look at the gender. I don't think it works like that. I mean, you cannot change the habit, the social habit, and the way of seeing and approaching things with just like changing the mindset through a decade. You have to do it for a longer period in order to really make an impact and make a difference.
Yeah, but we don't have to forget that art is a competition. So it's always a competitive. So sometimes if you put men aside, it's not a fair competition because the ideas behind are there. But as I said, I think this is the millennials are coming. So we are like more, we got more information and we're more open to the world because world is very diverse. And as I said, I see more and more domestic and also international projects that women are trying to get women because they are bringing feminine topics right now to the films. There are more of them naturally, and they try to work with women. And I know like 4 or 5 friends of mine, artists, who are doing artist films. Also, some of them are trying to be filmmakers, or studying, or graduating, or working abroad, or living here. And they are first of all digging for the female because they would like to work with this on some values-based topics, and that's another millennial stuff that comes. And I think it will become some new power that keeps me positive because old habits, of course, they are. And well, when we are talking about the master authors, they are most of them because of historical and also habit and also another situations. A lot of them, like in Khan, they call the masters men because if you're taking the big names who are not productive enough, you cannot ignore that there was like market was very male. And those like Agnes Vardal, our beloved Laila Pakalina, they were the talents that popped up naturally, and they are the only ones, and they will not be forgotten, and they will not be, hidden. Nobody will ignore their films. They're like, first of all, they will watch it like what the master did before.
Yeah.
That was a luck. I think that was a huge success for them at the time.
Yeah, that's true. But it's just also like a question of numbers. If it's just like, as you say, like that then some female names are popping up like naturally, why were there so few? And as you say, now it becomes more and more because of also natural reasons that are like.
Yeah. I think feminist ideas and also diverse queer ideas are all over, like in the cities that are open-minded and diverse, and people are traveling more. They are studying, they are educated. It's naturally that you are more friendly for the new ideas, and that comes from that. And the cities are changing so much. Like Vilnius changed, like in the past 10 years, like the difference of opinions and friendliness to minorities, other people, it's still a problem, but it's like uncomparable how it is. But it's like millennials came with their ideas, came with their businesses, came with their values, and I think it's changing. So I would like to hope, and I would like to believe that in the film business it's like the same.
Yeah. But we are bigger than our jobs.
Yeah.
And we do have hobbies, and we do have something else to do. And I really hope that we will like explore you being also a DJ once you come to Northern Lights, because you are a DJ.
I'm not sure, but I like to play music for people. Yes.
But how did you start, and what do you play? How often do you play in public? I know that film festivals sometimes ask you to do some.
It started as a joke, of course. We did some parties. I think everybody started by a joke when they had a party and someone asked like, who can play music, and you start all over. And I love techniques. I love cameras. I love stuff that can produce something. So I started watching on YouTube and how the people are playing in the parties, like sitting in the front, like what are they doing, to understand that. And I learned to play usually during some gigs. The most important is just firstly to have music library. You can know how it works, but if you don't have what to play, you cannot play. And it started like this. So we started playing in some feminist girl parties. That's how it started. And then we were paying a lot of money for our industry DJs, and then like, okay, that was a crappy one. And I somehow understand that maybe I can do that too, and without money, and for the people I like and people I know and people we love. And once I popped up, and it turned to be a quite nice party, because, you know, if you do it with the heart and you understand it and you feel the people, because it's very hard sometimes if you're playing softer music with the lyrics and vocals, you usually, you know, those people from film festivals, they would like just to have a very nice evening and release their ties. So that's how we do it. You're like, okay, what's the average age? And definitely they would like to listen to that. But, you know, as a DJ, you would like to be the one who people comes to listen to. So it's another kind of difficulty, because I would like them to come to listen to my set, not to, you know, whatever party is. So for film industry is quite a different thing. They would like to be entertained, so you do the entertainment because it appears like a stage.
I can how to say, I can confirm, because I was at one of the parties where you were DJ, and it was in Tallinn, I think at Tallinn Black Nights last year. It was really cool. It was fun.
Yeah, let me entertain you and let's have fun together. But another part is when you share your creativity side, you know, of the story that you would like to tell. So this is like two sides of my DJing, and I would like to develop that. And being a girl in this music scene is very, very hard. So this is another trouble I have to face, because it's very male-dominated scene in Vilnius.
Told me that is highly competitive, and but this isn't it the situation when requirements and demands to women are higher?
Yes.
If it's male-dominated. So
as I was talking to some sound artists, they told me, you don't have to be good, you have to be extra good as a woman. Exactly. And I think it can adapt to every kind of a field, like in cinema, in cultural in general, you know, in the theater, in writing, everywhere. Everywhere. It's like everywhere. You have to be extra good because you're a woman. It's like a second qualification. Do that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Exactly.
That's exact quotation.
Yeah. But I'm really looking forward for you to come to Northern Lights and play for us. It's going to be the party in town.
I was in Minsk. I know how you work there, and I've been to some parties there. So I see how you have fun, guys, and I will think of something very, very special and specific exactly for Minsk audience. And I'm really looking forward. I think it should be the most interesting gig in my career, because I usually travel to film festivals to play. So from Italy to Sёnnya and Lithuania, Berlin, Cannes. I think I was the first woman or the first Lithuanian who ever played in Cannes Film Festival. That was so funny.
So yeah, this is going to be an honor for Northern Lights as well. Cool.
Same.
Okay. Just to wrap up our nice conversation, can you recommend any films that you watched lately on VOD platforms, apparently, for professionals and for like general public, that you would recommend? I don't know, for Belarusians to watch, for international audience to watch. Like, what impressed you?
I hope you will watch at some point somewhere film Metamorphosis of Birds. It won Vilnius Film Festival. It's a Portuguese film from Berlinale. Also watched an amazing documentary for the lockdown, Bloody Nose, Empty Pockets. It was about Las Vegas and the last day of a bar that works 24 hours a day. It was the last day of its open, so it's like the end of the world for people. And it's a very good lockdown film about people socializing in a bar. Let me think. I was mostly focusing on documentaries, because I do recommend that for everybody who's watching films right now. This is better for the small screen. I watched one amazing film from Ukraine. It was Garage People, about community over there, people who are developing their lives there, and characters, and how do they survive there from digging amazing tunnels behind or having rock rehearsal room and many other stuff. So I do recommend to focus on documentaries, artistic ones, not the nature or the history, but it's very, very, very useful right now, and you can focus on it and you can find very special things there.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dovilė. Yeah. Thank you for this lovely conversation. Anything else you would like to say to empower people or empower women, or I don't know, just like a goodbye wish to our listeners?
We will survive this when we will, keep on intellectual force. So reading books, watching this very rich libraries we have, documentaries, my recommendation, will keep us strong. This will from the hearts and from the souls, and enlarging and enriching our souls is the most important right now, to stay strong and stay healthy. Please stay home, and let's keep the restrictions and what it should be done right now, and then we will see each other, then we will dance together again when the time will come. That's very, very important. So I hope to come to Minsk. I missed it a lot. I like the city a lot. I love the people. So I hope that the more we stay at homes, the more fun it will be afterwards.
Yeah, the first party after the lockdown is going to be the best party in the world, apparently.
And all my best to the team of Northern Lights. Stay strong, stay together. It's not easy to anybody, and film industries are supporting each other. So we do support you here in Lithuania. Everything is going to be all right.
Thank you. Thank you, Dovilė. Thank you so much for your time and for a lovely talk. Я пераходжу на беларускую мову. Сябры, дзякуй вам вялікі. Мы на сёння сканчваем. Спадзяюся, што гэта было вам цікава, што вы справіліся з ангельскай мовай і на івенты без перакладу, можа быць, будзеце прыходзіць больш актыўна. Прыходзьце таксама ў онлайн заўтра. У нас адбудзецца размова з Канстанцінам з майстэрні сацыяльнага кіно. Мой госць заўтра Канстанцін Варабей, прадзюсар майстэрні сацыяльнага кіно, з якім мы таксама будзем размаўляць пра сітуацыю кіно ў Беларусі, увогуле ў свеце, і прыдумляць рашэнні і кансалідавацца. Дзякуй вам вялікі. Всяго добрага.